Okay, well, welcome everybody to this amazing virtual event here with Nikki Upshaw from Oceania Cruises. We're just gonna wait for one more minute until everybody joins and kind of get their computers and their webinar screens ready so that we can get started and get you answering some of my questions. Thank you very much for joining. We'll just wait for a little while longer. How you doing, Nikki?
Doing very well, thank you.
Aren't you excited about this?
I'm very excited. This is a fantastic opportunity to tell everyone about Oceania.
Amazing. Yes, I'm very, very glad that. Thank you very much for taking the time, spending a couple of minutes with me, well, actually 30 minutes with me. And we're gonna go over some questions, and hopefully as people join in, we'll get started. Just gonna allow one more minute for people to join in. Just remember, get your notepads out, get your pens ready. We're gonna take a lot of notes. The whole idea with this event is for you guys to learn about Oceania Cruises and really educate yourselves on, how to make the best decision when it comes to choosing what ship or what sailing or even what cruise line to take for your next vacation. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to allow just 30 more seconds for people to finish joining, and then we'll get started, and we'll take it from there. So, where's people coming from? If you can, please just write on the chat where you're coming from, where you're joining us from, and that'll help us know where you are and how to, who we're talking to, who's joining us in this amazing event. Again, thank you very much for joining. For those that just joined today, we're with Nikki from Oceania Cruises, and I'll introduce Nikki properly in just a second. So while people join in, we'll just get started. All right, so let's get the ball rolling. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about you. Who are you? What do you do for Oceania?
So Carlos has said my name a couple of times, but I'm Nikki Upshaw, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Sales for Oceania. I've been with the company for 7 years, and my primary role is to make sure that we work closely with our travel agency community to attract wonderful guests like you to sail with Oceania, and it's basically a responsibility for our North America market.
Amazing. Thank you, and thank you very much for being here. It really gives us an opportunity to share with our audience, with our guests, our clients, a little bit of insider information, and kind of share with everybody a little bit of our relationship and how we work with each other. As we get started, just want to mention to everybody that our agents are on the chat on standby. Feel free to ask any question you have. They're going to be there to answer, whatever you want to know. As we are going through this event, we're going to be answering some questions at the end. But please feel free to just ask some of the questions to chat, and as you are doing so, our agents are going to be happy to respond. Just so you know, again, as we go through this event, we are going to have an amazing offer exclusive only for attendees. It's going to be available for 7 days after we've done this event, and know that you're not being pushed to book anything right now or whatsoever. All we want to do with this event is to just give you information, help you make the best decision when it comes to your vacation, because for us that is extremely important. That's why we do what we do. And if you like what you are hearing, if you like Oceania Cruises and you'd like to learn more about us and Oceania Cruises and how do you book your next vacation, just feel free to approach us. Call us in or write in the chat, ask a question, whatever, and we'll be happy to help you doing that. So anyway, Nikki, once more, thank you very much for being here. And why don't we do this? Give me the elevator pitch on Oceania, the 1 minute elevator pitch.
I was asking, is this a long elevator ride or is this a short elevator ride? But the short elevator ride, Oceania Cruises really is a company that is focused on creating memorable travel experiences. And we do that by having our beautiful 6 intimate and luxurious ships delivering exceptional service in a very relaxed atmosphere, a very relaxed ambiance. we also then ensure that we're covering the world. So we have a destination experience that ranges from 7 nights to 180-day around the world cruise. And we like to show the world or showcase the world in a unique way by staying longer in port and doing quite a bit of overnight stays, which actually lets you travel more as a local than as a tourist. And last but not least, we are affectionately known as the cruise line for foodies. What that means is that we place a really, really high standard on our Epicurean delivery and to really offer you the finest cuisine at sea.
Amazing. And I would agree with all of that. And to put that into a little bit of a better perspective even, what if we play a short video on Oceania Cruises so that our guests can enjoy and learn a little bit more about it from the video? Sounds good?
Perfect. Sounds great.
Awesome. Let's roll. All right, welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed the video. It's very nice. Oceania Cruises is definitely an amazing cruise line, and we're going to learn more about this in a second. So as we keep going with our event, I have some more questions to ask you, Nikki. All right, let's start getting a little bit more into the detail of Oceania Cruises. Tell me, who is your ideal client?
So our ideal client, and not to maybe put too many boxes or fences around this, but truly is an avid traveler that loves authentic experiences. And you might say, well, who doesn't? But what I mean by that is that you're looking for a little bit of a deeper destination experience when you travel with Oceania. We really are about the port. If you study our itineraries, you'll see that we're in port almost every day because we feel that's the content that our ideal guests would like. So you're inquisitive, you're pretty active. I mean, maybe not, rappelling down a huge cliff or anything, but you're a pretty active traveler. And you also really enjoy the finer things in life. So what I mean by that is probably culturally very much into art and architecture. Yes, I mentioned cuisine earlier. So the dining, finer things in life are really important to you as well. A lot of times people ask me an age range, and I'm not just saying that because, yes, age is a number, right? But it's not about age, it's more about the way you like to travel. But yes, most of our guests are somewhere in that 50 to 70, maybe early empty nesters. They're finally realizing that they might be able to take a little bit more of a luxurious, sophisticated, type of experience, and we're their choice.
So, if you don't mind, let me ask you a little bit of a personal question without giving away your age or anything.
Yes, I am in our target market. I can't believe, how did that happen?
Well, I want to know a little bit, like, if you were within the target market, like, tell me a little bit about you, like your family. Would you go on Oceania? Like, why? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, yes, I would definitely go on Oceania, and I'm being truthful. I wouldn't just say that, because that's the right thing to say. Because, I actually traveled with my family, and one of the reasons I believe I'm in the travel industry, traveled quite extensively. And what I loved about travel is that you can actually create your own pace. So with Oceania, most cruise lines, and nothing necessarily wrong with this, but you get in at 8 and you leave at 4 4 or 5 p.m. You're having a very compressed amount of time in a port. When you sail with us, you might be overnighting 2 or 3 days in St. Petersburg or in our Asia itineraries, Bangkok, Hanoi, Hong Kong, Barcelona if you're in Europe. And so that 2 or 3 day experience allows you, first of all, to decompress a little bit more, not be rushed, but more importantly then to be able to discover a lot of different facets of a city or a destination. So to me, Oceania, and there's a lot of different reasons, but the top reason is that you're going to see the world like no one else can show you.
Amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the ships then, okay? I want you to tell me about the ships, and then I want to know, okay, so for those days that we're not on any port, what there is to do on the ships, right?
Perfect.
So, because there are at sea days, I mean, like
there are, yeah.
Every itinerary has them.
Yes.
So, so tell me a little bit about the ships. How many ships do we have? You know, what can you tell us about them and the differences?
So 6 ships. We have 4 ships that we have in our regatta class, and those 4 ships are 684 guests. So intimate, big enough, as I say, to have different restaurant experiences, different lounges for entertainment, but small enough so that you really feel like it's very easy to come on and off the ship when you are in port. You're rarely in a queue or a lineup for your coffee, free coffee at baristas.
Exactly. Your eggs.
Which that in and of itself is a luxury, right? To not have to be waiting.
100%.
Waiting. Then our other 2 ships, Riviera and Marina, are the Oceania class, and they're larger, and we purposely made them larger. They're 1,250 guests because that allowed us to create larger accommodations. The feedback we were getting was we want larger suites, more penthouses, and also to add a few additional restaurants. So those 6 ships round out the experience. And you're asking me, okay, so what's there to do, right? And so yes, we're very port intensive when we are at sea. Then you have everything from, and I'll start with our Oceania class, our culinary cooking school. So we have the first hands-on culinary school, so you can do cooking classes. We have an artist loft, so an artist in residence. So if you want to learn how to watercolor or do a sculpture, photography classes. We also offer, of course, beautiful Canyon Ranch spa experience on all 6 of our ships. So everything from Pilates to yoga to boot camp, anything else that you might want to do from a fitness perspective, and certainly the relaxation side, so the massages and facials and such. And then we also have throughout the ship different art. We actually have invested in $1 million art galleries on all of our ships.
Wow.
So you can do an art audio tour. So any of you, art aficionados can do that as well. And yes, throughout the day there are movies, there's live music and entertainment in the evening. So you won't be bored, but we truly feel that the destination typically is the cornerstone of the experience.
Perfect. So without giving too much away of what we're going to be talking about next.
I like that.
The regatta class is the older class ships, right?
Right.
They were built earlier.
Right.
And the Oceania class, or the O class as we call it in the trade, are the newer ships, right?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to talk more about this because the fact that they're older ships.
They're still beautiful, and yes, there's something coming next.
There you go. Okay, perfect. So tell me a little bit about the Oceania philosophy, like what do you guys stand for? What does Oceania Cruises stand for? Your inclusions. Just tell me a little bit more about Oceania Cruises on a general basis.
Well, we set out, and we're celebrating our 15-year anniversary this year, and we set out to create a cruise line that actually blended a lot of luxury elements, but at an incredible value. So that someone that wasn't really feeling like they wanted an all-inclusive luxury experience, which there's beautiful, brands and companies that offer that, but that just wasn't what you might want as a cruise traveler, had an option. So that means that on board, resort casual. We never tell you, you would be perfectly attired for an Oceania, actually probably overdressed in the day.
Exactly,
actually.
I thought I was dressing up a little bit.
So you're overdressed for the day, for the evening, but you never have to bring a tie for the gentlemen, unless you'd like to. You don't even have to wear a sports jacket or sports coat, unless you'd like to, and most men do in the evening. Just super casual, because if you're on holiday, you don't want to be told what to wear, right? The other part is to deliver very gracious, warm service. And I say that because sometimes there's formal service, and we feel like we want to deliver great service, but in a very natural, gracious way. We also then set out to include certain things. There's no upcharge for our specialty restaurants. And we felt that was important because if we're delivering the finest cuisine at sea, we didn't want you to have to choose, like, well, do I have to pay more for this incredible cuisine? So no upcharge with that. All of your water, coffee, specialty teas, macchiatos. What do you drink? Americano?
No, macchiato. No macchiato.
Macchiato? Okay, macchiatos, all complimentary. So those are included as well in your rate. Shuttle service. So this is actually sometimes overlooked, but in most of our ports, as opposed to having to take a taxi or these days an Uber or whatever, you actually will have shuttle service from the ship into the city center, which number one eases away that stress of how am I going to get there, but also, yes, it adds up. You know, there's some cost involved with that.
True.
And
especially for people that just decide, I don't want to take a short excursion, I just want to do it on my own.
Exactly.
Take the shuttle into town and you're good.
And you're good, you're set. And then free internet is something we just added. So there's no internet charge. The other part, which is the ambiance, is that it's all open seating, open dining, which means you only dine when you'd like to, with whom you'd like to, and you choose the restaurant you'd like to go to. So it's a very natural and, again, more fitting with a luxury travel experience.
What about reservations? Do I have to make reservations?
We do encourage reservations in our specialty restaurants because those are more intimate.
And they're very popular.
Yes, very popular, especially red ginger. That's the favorite.
That's the favorite.
The Asian fusion. But we recommend reservations. But again, you can dine if you're, just with your, spouse, significant other, 2 people, table 4, 6, just like you would in a fine restaurant.
Perfect. Okay, so tell us what you are not. Like, who are you not targeting?
Who are we not? Well, I would say, and I know we're going to talk about this maybe a little bit, or if not, I'll introduce it a little bit, but we actually, there's no age that we exclude. I mean, again, just by younger than 1 year old, only because we need to make sure that we have the medical facilities for, babies, but we don't exclude any age group. Having said that, who we're not for. We're really not for someone, frankly, that is looking for high power, high energy entertainment. And I want to be clear with that. We do have beautiful entertainment, string quartets, classic guitarists, production shows in the evenings, dancing in some of our lounges. But if you're looking for that very, high energy, call it, stay up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning world, we might disappoint you. And that's, important to point out. We also don't have children's programs. Except for Alaska. Our Alaska itineraries, we do offer a youth program, but we don't offer formal children programs on our entire fleet throughout the entire year. And that's important. Doesn't mean you can't travel with your children, but you just have to know that you're entertaining them, right? They're out with you on the shore excursions. They're coming with you to dinner. There's not going to be, a place for them to go to. Besides that, I think, just about anyone else that loves to travel the world, and again, as I shared earlier, it really has a curious mind, would love Oceania.
Okay, so without getting too off track, very quickly, children's program, yes or no, and how is it?
Okay, so children's program only in Alaska. And we did that because we realized that Alaska is a very multi-generational destination. Grandparents like to come with their children and their grandchildren. And so we have children program in our Alaska season, which is on Regatta, one of our Regatta class ships, from April to September every year. And those children programs are for ages 5 to 12. And that's the only ship and the only destination where we offer a formal
Okay, that's
program.
good to know. It's important to know. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about the itineraries. Tell me more about the itineraries, about your sailings. Just tell me a little bit more about that.
So I mentioned earlier, we do have everything from a 7-day cruise to a 180-day. We travel the world. The only areas we don't go to are Antarctica and the Galapagos, and really the true Arctic. So any of the extremes or really more expedition style areas. But everywhere else in the world, you'll find an Oceania ship at the right time. Because of course it's important to be in Asia when you're not going to be freezing or maybe too hot, correct? Right. And when I said the range of sailings, what's really, I think, fantastic is that you can add additional sailings without repeating too many ports. So we take our itinerary process very seriously, and knowing that if you're an avid client, an avid cruiser, or an avid traveler, you might want to go 7 days or 14 or 28 or 32 and potentially keep traversing, right? Not doubling back and repeating ports. So we make that very, very easy to do.
So a lot of our guests that are taking Oceania Cruises usually do back-to-backs, and they don't repeat a single port.
Yeah, which is phenomenal.
Which is amazing. It gives a lot of people the flexibility to, okay, do I want to go 7 nights or do I want to go 21 days? Or, you know, and you have the flexibility to choose which one of the segments you want to take. Good, that's amazing. Okay, so,
I was going to say that, you know, one thing we started recently is country immersive. So we have, which sells out right away, a 34-day circumnavigation of Australia.
Okay.
Right, and then within that, you can do overlands into the country, and obviously, you know, work with Carlos and his team and all the folks that are ready to work with you to do overlands to, you know, private excursions into the country. We do an immersive Japan 10-day Tokyo round trip, immersive
Amazing.
Italy. So that's again speaking to, again, when I shared earlier, and you asked me who's the right client, someone that really wants to do a deep dive into a destination.
And explore. And we can also always put together pre and post excursions to make the trip just as customized as necessary for each one of our guests.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so I want to jump a little bit more into cuisine, because I know Oceania really takes a lot of pride on that area, right? Okay, tell us a little bit.
I'm smiling because I'm a terrible cook, so I'm thinking here I work for the company with the finest cuisine at sea, and I bake, but I don't cook.
Well, you should go on one of the ships then.
I should take those classes and
there you go.
Okay, gotta go. I'm gonna go take a class now. So our cuisine. So, you know, it's interesting because the culinary experience, yes, is about the food and the presentation, and we invest more than, I believe, you know, looking and talking to our food and beverage team, than almost any other cruise line on the actual ingredients. Jacques Pepin is our culinary director, and he always says, and any, you know, chefs that are watching here or with us at our virtual event know that you have to start with great ingredients. You cannot make great food with, you know, really lousy, you know, initial ingredients. So he's instilled that into Oceania. Our butter comes from France, the New Zealand lamb chops, you know, just everything top notch. From there,
I understand the flour even that
the
is
flour
used.
is like the planchot flour, yes,
Right.
also. And there's different flour, which is fascinating to me, depending on the baguettes we make versus the croissants we make. So it's very,
They're
very...
just not croissants. They're like specially
So
made.
Very true. So that's part of it, yes. But the other part is that we have taken pride in creating unique ambiance in every one of our restaurants. So our red ginger, which is our Asian fusion, you can actually select which type of chopstick you would like. And we have a selection of 7 different chopsticks. So it's the experience and customizing. You mentioned before, all of you travel, you don't want it to be cookie cutter. So not only...
That's what separates luxury from not luxury,
Absolutely.
Right?
And it makes it memorable, right, and personal. Toscana, which is our Italian restaurant, again, completely separate galley, so that's another investment we made. You don't have the same
Should I assume that
galley.
the pasta is freshly made?
Freshly made pasta. Some of the recipes handed down from some of our chefs, you know, grandparents, so truly family recipes. And that's the other part. We do have some very, as I call it, frou-frou dishes, but most of our dishes are very much just not only natural but authentic to that area of the world. Jacques has his only name restaurant on 2 of our ships, Riviera and Marina, so Jacques Pepin French country style cuisine. And then we also have Polo Grill, which is our steakhouse, so you've got to have one of those. Great fish and seafood options as well. But each one of these has their own galley. So what makes it unique is you're not going to go into one restaurant and think like, oh, this tastes just like what I had over there. It's definitely very much individualized.
And that's just amazing. And I know we have a short video to play on your cuisine, so let's go ahead and play that video.
A lot of people experience where they go by the art, the history. I connect where I am through food and wine. You can teach Greek cooking at a cooking school anywhere on land, but when you're in Greece, it's magic, because you're there.
Cooking is the first kind of love you know. I put a little bit of myself in every dish. It's something made specially for them.
Okay, welcome back. I hope you liked and enjoyed that video about Oceania's Cuisine because they really do an amazing job with this. It's one of their prides. So as we're talking about that, let's talk a little bit about Oceania Olive, right? Which is an optional add-on on any reservation. Any reservation, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Any
So
reservations?
Tell me a little bit more.
So I talked a little bit earlier about what's included. We strongly believe in embedded value into what Oceania Cruises stands for. But then about 3 years ago, we actually enhanced it even more with the O-Life Choice program. And O-Life Choice, again, our tagline is your world, your way. We want you to have your experience the way you'd like to when you come to us. So O-Life Choice gives you an option on every sailing to select one of three value propositions. One is shore excursions.
Okay.
One is a shipboard credit, which can be used for your spa, it can be used for wonderful wines on board, gifts, etc. And then lastly, beverage package. So wine and beer, complimentary during lunch and dinner. And the number of excursions or the amount of shipboard credit is based on the length of your cruise.
Okay.
So you'll be able to see, depending on different lengths, you might have 3 free excursions, 4 free excursions, or 5.
Okay, so a little bit of an insider tip. What's the one that people take the most?
Well, it's interesting. I'd love if we could have everyone guess, right?
Well, maybe we can actually
Yeah, that's
poll
true.
it.
Let's
Yeah,
ask them.
okay. So we're gonna put up a little poll here in the webinar. See if you guys can tell us what you think is the most solicited, or
That's right.
the O-Life.
Shore excursion, shipboard credit, or beverage package. Which
There
one
you
do
go.
you think?
There you go. Okay, so
I'll answer
and while
that
you
then.
do that,
Yeah. While you do that, then we're going to do one more question, then we'll come back and answer. How's
Okay,
that?
sounds good. Okay, so aside from Olive, and which is an add-on to any reservation, what normally is always included?
Right. So always included, as I said a little bit, is the free internet. There's no cost for your waters, juices, specialty, coffees and teas, etc. There's no cost for our restaurants or our specialty restaurants, which for many companies it's usually an upcharge. There's one I should point out. La Reserve is a beautiful 7-course wine pairing restaurant, La Reserve by Wine Spectator. And there is a charge there, but only because we do not include alcoholic beverages on Oceania. And so the surcharge is really to cover the wines that are part of the wine pairing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And the surcharges can go for like.
So there's 3 different menus, that you can choose from at La Reserve, and they range from $129 per person to $189 per person, depending on the menu option. The spectacular experience. So you have to do it.
So if you're into wine, you must.
You must do it. Yeah.
'Cause
It's
it's
brilliant.
just-
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So what's not included, which actually I think maybe as well, as I just mentioned, alcoholic beverages are not included. We also do not include gratuities into our price, so that is additional, and of course we don't include personal, your spa and your
Right.
casino donations, as I call them, or your
Right.
personal purchases. But you won't pay for your overall experience when you're on board.
Gotcha. Okay, but gratuities is one of the options of Olive.
Correct.
Okay, so let's answer the question
So the one, actually not one of the Olive, but we have another opportunity for gratuities. But so the one that's actually requested the most is shipboard credit. And I believe one of the reasons why that happens is because guests realize that a shipboard credit has ultimate flexibility, right? You can actually use it towards your shore excursions, you can use it towards your gratuities, you can use it towards your beverage package, etc. A close second, though, is the shore excursion. And I will tell you that the shore excursions have the highest value, because you're selecting free excursions in any city. We don't restrict it. It's every single port. You can choose what excursions you get free. And that's a value of anywhere between $100 and maybe sometimes up to $889 per person.
Oh, wow.
So it's a pretty good one.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so we learned about Olive. Let's talk about Air, because usually when people add Olive, they add Air to the reservation. So tell me a little bit about your Air program and why is it so special?
Yes, so we actually contract for Air as a company with Oceania Cruises, and then our parent company, Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings. We contract quite well because we have a lot of ships sailing all over the world, and we believe that Another value option we can give each one of you is to be able to give you low-priced air option. So when you see our brochures or when you speak to one of the consultants and advisors, you'll be able to talk through that you can choose Oceania cruise only. You just want to get on the ship and enjoy the Oceania lifestyle. Or you can actually then add on to that with Olive Choice with Air. And that's the best value, to be honest with you. We offer then that price for 26 major gateways in the US and Canada. And if you come from one of the other, not the 26, there's a $199 add-on, but that cost for Air pretty much hands down is going to beat anything that you can find out in the open marketplace to get you to the ship.
Yeah, normally, based on our experience, normally Oceania Air is extremely competitive. And if somebody wants to do like a major deviation or just really do several days pre or post or whatever, then as a full-fledged travel agency that we are, we also normally, accommodate that for our clients. And we also have some great contracted air, so that works out very well.
So either way, yeah.
Yes, for sure. Okay, awesome. So, and taking all of this into account, tell me, where do you get most of your clients from, and how do you compare to other cruise lines out there in the market?
So I always say, and I've been with Oceania, as I shared, 7 years, but I've been in this industry for longer than I should probably admit, right? For a while. And I always feel so fortunate and blessed that we have an industry where I think every cruise line does an incredible job. You and your team have the hardest job, which is to make sure that you're sailing on one of the right cruise for you. I always say that it's all about then the nuances of each line.
Right.
For us, what we found is that most guests come to Oceania Cruises from one of these wonderful brands, Holland America, Celebrity, more and more as new entries into the market, Viking Ocean, Azamara. And why they come to us is not because those companies don't do a brilliant job, but it's more that they find that there might be elements of those experiences that now Oceania can do better. For example, you want maybe a smaller ship, more intimate ship experience. And I mentioned our ships are 680 guests or 1250. So that brings with it just ease and luxury. You might want a deeper destination experience. And again, we do that from what I shared earlier, staying longer, sometimes till 10, 11 o'clock at night or the overnights. You might say, you know what, I really want fantastic food. And everything from very indulgent, I mentioned La Reserve, but we also have vegan menus, vegetarian menus, Canyon Ranch cuisine. So you can balance, you can be a little indulgent and maybe try to be a little bit more disciplined at times.
So for those that are vegan, I heard you guys have a huge array of options for them.
We have 250 vegetarian and vegan options available across our fleet. So it's really been a huge advance for us.
Wow. I can see how Oceania is really a lot about culinary, right? I mean, it's just definitely a thing for you guys.
It is.
And it is a thing for most of our travelers anyway. Yeah. That's especially when you're traveling in luxury, that's one of the things that you absolutely are going to judge. So you guys do a pretty good job there for sure. Okay, that's perfect. So let's do this. I know that there is some very exciting stuff that we would like to share next called
Oceania Next.
Oceania Next. Yes. Tell us a little bit about that.
So 15 years, as I shared, we're celebrating, but the way that you celebrate 15 years and actually continue to be successful is to continuously innovate. At our company, we really thrive on making sure that we have constant improvement. And Oceania Next is a platform where we can share with you and our travel partners the new enhancements that we're doing. It's everything from new savings programs to enhancements to our website, but most importantly is the Reinspiration and transformation of our 4 regatta class ships. So Carlos mentioned earlier that these are our older ships. Yes, we've kept them up, we do beautiful refurbishments, but we realize it's time to take them into a whole other level. So let us share with you a little video that's going to share with you and show you what this is all about.
Amazing. Let's roll the video.
One of our company principles is how can we make things better? So we're re-inspiring our ships in every way. All new guest accommodations, dramatically transformed public spaces, thought-provoking art, and zealous attention to detail will all blend perfectly to create the ultimate guest experience.
Oceania Next is such an important milestone in our company history. We're maintaining the intimate surroundings and personal attention that our guests love, while at the same time setting a new standard of style, elegance for small ship cruising.
We're extremely proud of this one-of-a-kind Reinspiration. We can't wait to tell you what's coming next.
Okay, welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed it. It's definitely Oceania Next it's going to revolutionize this entire fleet of regatta ships within the Oceania Cruise Lines. Just very quickly before we move on to something else. Okay, so we are putting a lot of money into these regatta ships, right?
$100 million, yeah.
Wow, okay.
I know. That's
Now,
a lot of money.
What are we doing with the other ships?
Yeah, we're just ignoring those.
Oh, okay.
No, of course not. No, $100 million for the Reinspiration of Regatta, Insignia, Nautica, and Sirena. Those are the 4 ships in the Regatta class fleet. And then Riviera and Marina, they'll go into dry dock as well. We're actually changing the owner suite of both of them. They're going to be designed by Ralph Lauren Home. And we didn't talk about it a lot, but one thing that we take great pride in is that our ships they have a residential quality to them. So you'd walk on board and see not only the artwork that I shared earlier, but the furnishings are what you would select for your beautiful home. So it feels inviting and warm and just really special. So we're going to continue to do that. Not quite as dramatic with Marina and Riviera, our O-class ships, but still elevate those as we go on.
Yeah, you're going to keep them up to date so they
Absolutely.
look nice and beautiful.
Yes.
All right, so this is what we want to do. So we basically took care of a lot of information. We covered a lot of ground on Oceania. But I want to take this opportunity that I have you and ask you like a true expert tip. Like give me something that even most travel advisors would even know.
Okay. Well, I can think of 2, but I'll focus on one, then maybe we can leave the other one for another time. On Marina and Riviera, there's this beautiful restaurant. I say restaurant because it's actually a room, but it's stunning, designed by Dakota Jackson. And it's actually on the bow of the ship, so you have a beautiful panoramic view. And it's only for 10 people. It seats 10. So most people don't know about it. We probably don't do a good job of talking about it too much, but the expert insider knowledge is if you want to celebrate a special occasion, party of 2, or you're traveling with 2 or 3 close friends, couples, and a party of 6, you can reserve privé, talk to Luxury Cruise Connections, you can reserve privé, and then design a menu with one of our executive chefs, or choose from Toscana or Italian restaurant or Polo Grill, different dishes from there. The watermelon duck salad is to die for, and so that's one you should definitely do.
Okay, so that's what people really need to know. So
That's what they need to know.
So definitely let's get pre-booked booked, and of course our advisors are happy to help you with those reservations, and make sure to have the watermelon duck salad.
Correct.
I'm gonna try that one next time I go.
It's really good.
All right, so tell us a little bit about, why should people trust Luxury Cruise Connections? Why should people do business with us?
Well, I mentioned earlier, my primary job is to make sure that we have travel advisors feeling confident and comfortable, promoting and actually advocating for Oceania. And Luxury Cruise Connections, we've worked closely with you for many years, you and your team. And what I find is that you want to work with someone that can customize, and you've mentioned that a few times.
Yes.
Someone that's going to listen to what your needs are, match them to the right company, hopefully Oceania Cruises, but whichever is the right one for you, and then make it special, make it unique, and your team can absolutely do that. The other great advantage is that being part of Virtuoso, which is an organization—
It's important to mention.
Yes, an organization that Oceania's worked closely with, and we offer special incentives or perks to Luxury Cruise Connections that they can extend to everyone here, which are primarily prepaid gratuities, which can be anywhere from $300 to $500 a cruise, so it's real money. You can get complimentary or free prepaid gratuities by booking with Luxury Cruise Connections on select sailings.
Okay, so it's not on every sailing,
No.
but it's on plenty of them.
Correct.
Right?
And combinable with Olive Choice. So I should point out that a lot of companies give you this, but then they take that away. With Oceania Cruises, we try to make sure that we don't do that too often because we know that gets both confusing and annoying. So Olive Choice that I shared with earlier on every sailing, and then the Luxury Cruise Connections free prepaid gratuities is available on select sailings.
Which is amazing because then that means that you can take the prepaid gratuities as one of the perks for booking with Luxury Cruise Connections, take the Olive and maybe take the onboard credit or the
Correct.
Shore Excursions, and then as on top of all of that, the offer that we have going on today,
The shipboard credit.
the shipboard credit, up to $200 shipboard credit, in addition to everything that we said.
You can't stay home. I mean,
No,
you have to go.
come
I mean, come on.
We can't make it any better. All right, amazing. Just so you know, our agents are still in the chat, just taking care of your questions and any anything that you want to know about, or any other information that you want to know. We're also uploading right now. We're going to be uploading a document that you're going to be able to download with the offer that we just mentioned, and also with some general information about Oceania and their itineraries, and how we can make that work perfectly for you. We're almost at at the end of our amazing, beautiful event here with Nikki. But we are going to stay online and answering some questions as they're coming in, some important questions that are that I see coming through, and we're going to go ahead and answer them. So if anybody is interested in, again, speaking with one of our representatives, feel free to call. The phone number is right here in the webinar. So just call in as you wish, or just ask the questions through the chat, and we'll be very, very happy to answer and help you. So with that said, I do want to say, if anybody wants to log off, you're welcome to, but we're going to stay online and answer some questions that are coming in.
You're great, and thank you for joining us if you are logging off. We appreciate it.
No, of course. And okay, so here's one question. As
Are these going to be hard?
Well, let's see. Let's see if we can catch you off guard.
Okay.
Okay, so one of the questions that just came in, you mentioned red ginger, right?
Yes.
It's one of the favorites. Is it going to be in every single ship?
That is a great question. So I shared earlier, Regatta class, a little bit smaller. So Regatta class has two specialty restaurants, Toscana and Polar Grill. Sirena is a little bit unique. Sirena does have a red ginger, even though she's Regatta class, and she has Tuscan steak. And Marina and Riviera have red ginger. So 3 of our 6 ships have a red ginger experience.
Okay.
But because it's the most popular, truly fantastic fusion Asian cuisine, Vietnamese food, Thai, sushi, because it's so popular, what we did is the ships that do not have red ginger, we create a red ginger dish option in the grand dining room.
Okay.
And in Terrace Cafe, which is our al fresco dining experience available for lunch and dinner every day, we have a red ginger station. So you can still get your fix.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so here's another question, and this is something that I see coming through, through the questions, but also a question that plenty of people ask. You mentioned Oceania belongs to Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, right? The fact that it's part of Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, does it mean that the quality is going to be different from what Oceania has traditionally been? Tell me a little bit about that.
Actually, yeah, there's always a fear, right, with any, not even just cruise lines, right, but any company, if there's a merger or an acquisition, that things are going to change. And yes, there's change, but I have to say, having been here before, during, and after, that if anything, there's been improvement. You have actually now the ability to look at different core competencies and do even better. For example, entertainment. I shared earlier, we're not the high energy entertainment, but we have really good entertainment at what we do. And that's because we can pull from the NCL entertainment, DNA. Our culinary was always phenomenal, so we actually have taught them a thing or two about how to make their culinary experience at NCL, even better and elevate that.
Makes a lot of sense.
So it actually has been a win all the way around.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's talk. So one of the questions that I see coming in that maybe we can elaborate a little bit more on is the voyages, the Virtuoso Voyages Club, or the Virtuoso Voyages, right? So there are a whole bunch of itineraries that are part of Virtuoso, or the Virtuoso Voyages, but there's also hosted voyages. Right. So let's
so
talk a little bit about
I
that.
mentioned the prepaid gratuities, which is on usually about 70 dates a year that Luxury Cruise Connections could extend to you free prepaid gratuities. But in addition to that, then Virtuoso Voyages, if you'd like the ability or the experience of being hosted, Virtuoso selects a very well-trained travel advisor to go with you, with the clients, and be on the ship with you to take care of any needs you might have. They also include a free private excursion and a cocktail party reception, as well as then usually another little perk or gift on board. So it's actually just an elevated way to travel, and it's quite fun, to just be able to have a group within a group.
Good, thank you. Now, okay. Another question that I'm seeing, that I see coming in. They want to know, what is your favorite cabin or suite?
Well, I actually can't sail in it because other people keep booking it, and that's of course my job is to fill that. But the Oceania suite.
I'm sure we can find you.
Yeah, you think of a travel. Yeah,
There
can I
you
call
go.
you? Can you book this for me?
I'm sure we can work it out.
So the Oceania suite is stunning, absolutely incredible. But I will say that the penthouse, Riviera Marina penthouses are fantastic. They're 422 square feet, so they're not our largest, but they're so well designed. I mean, you all travel extensively, I'm sure, so when you go to a hotel or a cruise line and you walk in and you know there's the right amount of drawer space, it's in the right place, your plugs for your electronics are there and available, the vanity, the bathroom is well designed, beds are super comfortable, you have a veranda, so you have everything you need. To me, those are my favorite. The
Okay.
penthouses on O-Class.
There you go. And I would agree with that.
Yeah.
that. Okay, so we do have some questions coming in. I apologize that we're not able to answer every single question live, but our agents are in the chat and they'll be able to answer the questions as they come in. And I'm trying to just pick and choose the most relevant questions, or the ones that I think that most people are gonna be interested in learning about. Okay, so sorry, but to make the most out of our time. I see another question coming in. I'm a single traveler. What options do you have for me?
That's a good question. We actually don't have specific staterooms that are designed for singles. I kind of wish we did, but we don't. Having said that, on a certain number of sailings, we offer 125 or 150% charge versus having to pay double. I will say very clearly, it is only on select sailings, and I know that for many of you single travelers, that's a little bit of a frustration, but at least we have that. And then certainly call Luxury Cruise Connections, because if there's a specific sailing, even if it's not one of those dates, we're happy to check and see if we can make an exception.
And we've done that in the past. And you've been
absolutely.
very, very helpful
Yeah.
at making that work.
So don't
thank
rule
you
out
for that.
Oceania just because we don't have ongoing single rates, and we'll do our best.
Right, and if not, we'll always find a way to make it up somehow. Either using our promotions, prepaid gratuities. So all those little
Good.
things are going to, for sure, just
Help out.
right,
Sure.
and kind of compensate for that.
Absolutely.
But we'll make it work, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so another question that is coming in. I don't like to sail with so many kids. I don't like to see so many kids running around. What's going to be my experience like?
Okay, so I don't have the crystal ball and I can't tell you specifically on every sailing what's going to happen, but in general, for Oceania, and I shared earlier, we don't really have children's programs. So in that, right away, many families don't come to Oceania. But in the summer, again, affluent families like to travel well, they like the experience we offer. So I would say that in the summer season, when kids are off from school, you might see on Oceania class, so again, 1,250 guest ship, between 50 and 80 kids, usually not tiny tinies as I call them, somewhere between that, call it 8 to 18, so even young adult, age. On regatta class, it might be more like 30 or 40.
Okay.
The running around part, it's rare they're running around. Again, we don't have that kind of ship because even though it's casual, which is another reason families do like it, it's very casual, very relaxed atmosphere. There's not the onboard games and all of that.
Right.
So most of the time, the kids are going to be off the ship. You don't want to see them running around. They're going to be off doing their excursions, right?
And usually when parents want to take kids on an Oceania sailing, it's usually because their kids are really interested in learning about the destinations and culture
Yes.
and stuff like that. So they're normally well-behaved
Yes,
kids.
they are. They are. I will say that that's true. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, so another question that I see, we briefly talked about casino, but they're asking, is there a casino on board and how's the casino on board?
Yes, so we do have a casino on every one of our ships. We actually, again, when you asked the question about Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, this is another area that we've seen a vast improvement in our casino operations because they helped us elevate not only frankly, the look and feel, but the staff that works the casinos, the way that we're operating the casinos has really improved quite a bit in the last 3 to 4 years.
Right.
So
And for those that don't like casino, they're not necessarily going to be bothered by it neither.
no.
And then smoking policy.
Yes, we do have a smoking policy.
Tell me.
You want to know what it is?
Yeah.
No.
Well, they know what I know
Yeah.
what it is.
Yes. So there's no smoking at all in any of the staterooms aboard the ship, except for 2 areas. There's a small area outside of the pool deck, what we do allow smoking, and then there's a small contained area in Horizons Lounge, which is a lounge on the top deck of our ship. So those are the 2 areas for smoking.
Okay, good. All right. We're still going to spend a couple more minutes on
Okay.
just last couple of questions. Remember, our advisors are still hanging around on the chat to answer any questions, or if you want to learn a little bit more about a particular sailing, a particular itinerary, pricing, and see what your options are, please feel free to ask them. They'll be happy to answer your questions right away. Okay, another question that is coming in. I have mobility issues. Will I be fine?
You will be fine. We do have aboard all of our ships handicapped accessible, wheelchair accessible staterooms. And we also then, of course, throughout the ship, any of the lounges, et cetera. Once again, there's not many of those, so I would encourage you to call Luxury Cruise Connections and plan ahead, because there are only a handful and they do go quickly. But yes, absolutely,
Okay,
you should have no issues.
Good. Excellent. And the short excursions, there's all sorts of levels of activities.
All sorts of levels. As I think many people know, there are certain parts of the world that, even though we have shore excursions at different levels of agility, that there are some places that are just very challenging no matter what.
Right.
But we can guide you, or again, your team as well can guide you to what areas then might be more, the cobblestone streets, the unpaved areas, the gravel roads.
Right.
We can actually kind of give you that insight before you book an excursion.
Right. So I know Oceania Excursions does, you guys do an amazing job at accommodating for as many, different variety of people as you possibly can. But yes, there are some destinations that there's
The infrastructure, the infrastructure doesn't, lend itself, yeah.
Okay, but we'll be happy, if anybody wants to know particularly about an itinerary or sailing, will you have enough stuff to do, feel free to ask us and we'll be happy to answer and let you know. Okay, and one last question as it's coming in, because I don't want to hold people for way too long on this event. What is your favorite itinerary? I know it's a difficult question.
It is difficult.
Probably the most difficult question of all, but
I will say that it is a very difficult question because there are quite a few, but there is nothing to me like sailing in the Norwegian fjords aboard a ship. I love the Med. I was going in my mind, Med I love, other parts of Europe, but to me, the Norwegian fjords, it is just breathtaking. And when you're on a ship, an Oceania ship going into the Norwegian fjords, it's like the Vikings, to me it's a historical sense as well, because you're feeling like you are actually discovering it, like maybe some of the discoverers did way back when. But just to have those sheer cliffs and walls and the waterfalls coming down and being in the Grangor Fjord and some of those fjords is just breathtaking.
I'm sold.
Come.
Awesome, that's amazing. Okay, so look, again, there's more questions coming in, I know, but I don't want to hold people for way too long in this webinar, so if you have any more questions, feel free to ask our advisors that are hanging around the chat. Call us, we'll be happy to help. We're here for you. As we said, the only reason why we're doing this webinar or this live event, as we like to call it, is mainly just so we can share information with you, just let you know everything there is to know about this cruise line, Oceania Cruises, which does an amazing job, right? And so you can make a decision, right? It's just about is make an educated decision. Look, I always like to say that when it comes to travel, vacations, you're taking from your personal time, and your personal time is
very valuable.
your most valuable asset, right?
Yes.
So you want to make sure you get that right,
Yes.
right? The worst thing you can do is go on a vacation and have your expectations completely off, right?
Right.
So that's what we want to do. We don't want to push you to book an Oceania cruise or this cruise or whatever. We just want to make sure you have the information that you need to make a decision. And if you like what you heard, then please count on us. We're here for you. We love to take care of your vacations. And that's it. So thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much.
And,
Thank you for the opportunity.
Hopefully we'll see you soon on another event with Oceania Cruises, where we have an opportunity to dive a little bit deeper into some destinations or something else that we'll come up with.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you,
joining us.
everyone.
Bye-bye.